And I should be already live here, but anyway, with that being said, I should be live now on both parts. I should be. Yeah, I think I am. If you can, I just want everybody to come on in and have this conversation tonight. We're talking about the slave master. The slave master. And I know some are wondering, what do I mean by slave master? So I'm going to share this screen with you. Tonight I'm going to share what I'm talking about so we can get a better understanding of exactly what I want to talk about. Hold on just a second. Let me go here. Share screen. Boom. This is what I want to talk about right here. I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is what I want to talk about right now. So come on in. I don't know if you can see me live on the YouTube where I'm sharing this on screen or not, but tonight we're talking in regards to the slave master. And we're going to talk about this emblem right here. And Jason, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. As long as you can see it, we good. We good. Hold on a second. I wanna see if I can add something in again. Hold on just a second. I'm gonna clear that box. I'm gonna go over here to that. Boom. I'm live right there. Boom. I'm live right there. There you go. Now we're squared away. So if you can see this, and I don't know how many of you can actually see this, this emblem right here that I'm sharing with you at this time regarding the slave master. So when you look at this, when you see this emblem on here, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts when you look at this and see this emblem? What is your particular thought? What's going on, brother JC? How you doing? What are your thoughts about it? Because it has something has to go, something has to happen to you, or you have to think about this. What are your thoughts when you see this emblem as it is? And some say, well, it's fake. No, it's not fake. I went myself and I started to look into this emblem. They have this very emblem is in the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. This is where you can find this particular item at the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. And on here you have the compass and square. Greetings. I'm doing quite well. On here you have the compass and square. I don't know if you can see this or not, but it makes me really think. It makes me think. I don't know what it does for you. I don't know what it does for you. I'm sharing my screen, and I don't know how many of you can see it, but this is what it does for me. You know, to see this and to know that someone who was a Mason had this around a black man or a black woman or a child, you know, around their throat, around them, bound. They was bound. It makes me wonder, you know. And then I'm thinking about even when Prince Hall, the man himself, who founded the lodge, African Lodge, he named it African Lodge for a particular reason. And they carried that up into his passing and the name change because they wanted to dedicate it to him and those 14 others. And yeah, 14 other gentlemen who was made Masons. I get it. I get it. But why do you think he named it African Lodge? And I'm not saying that all white people are bad. Let's have some clarity on that. Because during this time of what we call the Underground Railroad, there were a multi-mix of people playing a part in it. Okay, in order for this to happen, in order for that Underground Railroad to be successful, a whole lot of people had to take place. A whole lot of people. I'm gonna have them a little taste tonight. A whole lot of things had to happen. And this is what we find. It's for horses. But they used it for black people. It's for horses, but they use it for black people. That's what I'm saying. This is how I view it, only because of what when I went to look this particular item up, and they had it bound for black people. You know, if you feel that I'm wrong, I don't mind being corrected. Okay, but when I look at this emblem and I see it, it has a dual effect. Let me tell you why. Because we know for those who were in leadership, those who had money and power, and those who were Masons at that time, they owned slaves. We know that. Okay? And even after that, we can look right now as uh, the Prince Hall brothers try to gain acceptance with mainstream Grand Lodges, as most would like to call them. There has to be a psychological effect. How is it that you can say you would rather fellowship with them or gain recognition or have this fellowship with them when you know there's a multi diaspora group of other Masons out there that are not Prince Hall? And I know they're not recognized. They're clan. I know that. I've heard that. I battled that battle. I'm good with it. It's just the idea that how does that affect you? What's your mindset? How is it that you can say it's okay? You're cool with that. And I've yet to digest that. I will not do that to me. I will not do that to me. I would not disregard another Mason, black Mason at that, to call him out because I may disagree with how they got started. I may disagree with the history. I may even disagree with the fact that they may be truly Masons based upon my constitution and the way we do things. But I will not call them out. I would not disgrace him or her. I would not put them in a situation to look bad. I won't do that. I won't be on YouTube or Zoom or any place else, Facebook or any place else, trying to make him or her look bad and so I can look good before somebody else. I'm not going to do that. You may do that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not. You can join me tonight if you want to on the live Zoom. If you want to join me, you're certainly welcome to do so. I don't know how to. Let me see. Can I do this real quick, Jason? I don't quite know how to share in the live Zoom as far as putting a link in here. I'm not too swift on that right now. I'm not too swift on that, but I'm gonna get to it. So first of all, I want to say greetings to everybody who's coming on. If you want to join us, you certainly can. Greetings, Tony, from Allegory number 9. We played phone tag last week. Bruh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. You're gaslighting. JC, I would love to have that conversation with you. It is not that I'm gaslighting anything. I'm talking about facts, bro. I'm talking facts. I mean, think about this for a moment. How is it it's so easy for us to tear each other down? When I say us, I'm talking about black people. And then call each other out before the world. But you won't do it to anybody else. How easy is that? It's not easy for me. It's difficult for me to do that. You know? Greetings from Illinois. It's difficult for me to do it, Jason. It may be a little bit easier for you, but for me, it's difficult to do. For me. Talk back to me, Jason. I know you got something you want to say. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say something in a minute. I'm just kind of letting you open it up and get it going, you know.
Well, you know, I'm reading where the young man
I can't really see the chat because of where I'm at.
That's no problem.
I can't see the. Are they commenting from YouTube?
They're coming in from YouTube. They're not in the chat right now. And
so he said that's gaslighting.
Yeah, he said I'm gaslighting. I'm talking factual. I'm talking about something that actually happened. I'm talking about if masonry has such an essence to it. If masonry has such an essence to it, why is it for those at the time that owned slaves kept them and treated them like they did. And they were Masons. I'm just saying. It's not that I'm gaslighting. I'm looking at it for what it is. I'm not trying to say anybody's worse than anybody else. I'm looking at it face to face. Period. Now, I don't know how you may feel about that, but that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at it for what it's worth.
No, you're not gaslighting. I mean,
you know.
That's a fact. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's me. This is where I'm at in this walk of mine. Because I'm not going to sit idly by and then say, oh, you look like me. You have a compass and square on your neck. We living in the same community. And then I'm going to shoot you down? I'm going to cut you? I'm going to cut your legs from up under you? When you come my way and meet and greet me? Because we're not part of the same Grand Lodge? I'm gaslighting? No. Mm-mm.
But they will acknowledge a person of another ethnicity that owned slaves, hung slaves, castrated slaves. They will acknowledge that individual as their brother.
Well,
they won't acknowledge you as their brother.
Well, and this is where we're at. This is the craziest part about it all.
How do you explain that? How do you explain that? How do you explain that to somebody, even people that are outside of the order? You know, if they get to asking certain questions, well, what's the difference between this and that? And you like, oh, I don't like them dudes because they're not real. But then we come find out, well, shit, you like them. You like mainstream, you like them white boys over there, and they done hung and castrated and done all type of stuff, and you cool with that, but that's your brother though, right? It just says, the message that it sends is really not good.
It is, JC, it is not that anybody put an emblem on a slave. It is an emblem on the instrument to bound the slave. That's what I'm saying. It is an instrument that was used to bound the slave. You are gaslighting, and I'm trying to be respectful about this. Great minds are alike. Fact check this already. That's cool. So what makes you think I'm trying to gaslight?
Fact check what?
I mean,
that there was some Masons that owned slaves. That's a fact. What is he talking about?
I don't know. I want to listen. I want him. I want to see what he got to say when he says you're gaslighting. And I need to have a better understanding of when you say, what am I gaslighting when I'm talking something that factually happened? And I'm not forgetting. I'm not going to forget it. I'm not going to forget that it happened. I'm not going to forget that they denied Prince Hall and said, no, we won't accept you. No, you're not a Mason for 200 years. I'm not going to forget that. I'm not that person who's going to easily forget. And I'm not even a Prince Hall Mason. I'm not. Okay? But I won't forget that they treated every black Mason that way up until 1994 or 96. So no, I'm not gaslighting. I'm talking something that actually took place for over a long length of time. You make it seem like only Caucasian Masons were slave owners. Okay, well, let's talk about that just for a brief moment. Did you know the only reason black slaves were owned by blacks was because they bought them? They had to own them. It was illegal to set your slaves free. Okay? You gave them paperwork. It was illegal at one time to set your slaves free. So yeah, black people own slaves. I won't deny that.
Can we ask JC a question?
Go ahead.
I want to ask JC, if he's out somewhere and he runs across, let's say, a Caucasian brother, and he comes to find out that this Caucasian brother has a history, their family has a history of racism and owning slaves, and all of the brutal, horrific stuff that we all know happened during that time period. And then he also finds out that this individual is a Mason. I just want to ask JC, is he going to acknowledge that individual as his brother?
Well,
JC, is that your brother?
Let's see what he says.
It's a yes or no question, JC.
Yeah, he can definitely hear us. It's not that he can't hear us. This is a human condition. No, JC. No. Humans create conditions. It's not that this is a human condition.
Can't even get a straight answer.
Humans create conditions. The system for which we live in today is created by human beings. Humans create system. What is your principal tenets? Brotherly love, relief, and truth. They are my principal tenets. But if those are the same principal tenets that they was living by during that time, why did we have such chaos? Explain that to me. What was the principal tenets then? I can tell you mine right now. And those should have been the same principal tenets then. You know? My question is, does anybody know where the origin of the specific item come from? Well, the item belonged to the African American Museum out of Washington, D.C. They own the item. Now, how they acquire it, I don't know. But they own the item. So you will have to contact them in order to find out how did they acquire that item. It was there. And then somebody else shared it. This has been going on, and this has been on Facebook for a long time. I just wanted to have a conversation about it. Because I'm a Mason. I believe in the essence and the principles of Freemasonry. It is just when I think back to those days, although I wasn't there, I'm wondering what was the mindset. And I think about it. I look back to the days of the 60s for which I was there. And I wonder what was the mindset. Because we got to remember now, let's not forget. Who killed Medgar Evers? Who was he? What Grand Lodge was he part of? What about the bombing of the 4 kids in Atlanta, Alabama? What lodge were those members of? Because they were Masons. You can look this up. This is public information. So let's not be fooled in regards to thinking that that was something that happened long ago. We only talking about 40 years ago or less. Let's not be fooled. And it's not that I'm gaslamping. I think some things need to be talked about. So many of us want to bury things. Let's not talk about that. Why not? It happened. It's a fact of history. Okay? And I'm not so easy to forget how those who came before me was treated. I'm not going to forget that. I'm not going to lay it aside. I'm not going to toss it and say it was okay. It was not okay. No one has offered Black Masonry an apology for how they was treated. No one. They never came out and said, hey, bro, we sorry that we treated you so badly. No one offered you that apology. They just said, you know what? We're going to consider you regular. We're going to consider you to be legitimate Masons. But what does that actually do for you? Really, sincerely. Didn't do anything for me. It may do something for you to make you feel better. It may do something to you to make you feel like you're one of them. I never consider myself one of them because I am him. You catch it on the way home. I'm just saying. I never consider myself to be one of them because I am him. Alex Lewis, origin came out of Egypt in Africa. If you're looking for the origin of Freemasonry, I will agree. But I think she was speaking in regards to the emblem that I had shown earlier on the YouTube, where I was showing them the emblem of that had the Masonic emblem bound into it. Let me see, can I pull that up again? Let's see what I did with that. I don't know if I can do it again, but I'm going to see if I can pull that up and share that once again with everybody. Let's see. Let me see. Let me see. Share screen. Boom. This right here. This is what we're talking about tonight. This emblem right here. What's your thoughts? If you want to join us live on the Zoom, you're certainly welcome to do so. I would add you. Or you can put that in the chat. What's going on, Brother Robert Taylor? How you doing? Brother Bruce, 1847. Recognition gets you nothing but the right to shake a hand. And even with that being said, do they really want to shake your hand? Do they really want to grip you? Now, let's be honest. This is not to paint a picture of everyone. Okay? Let's just be honest. I can't do that. I refuse to put everybody in a box. I won't do that. However, when I see that emblem in what it was used for, I have issues with it. I do. That's me. It may not be you, but it's me. Keith, peace to you, brother Keith White. Keith, peace to you. So it says slave shackles from 1852 with Freemason emblem clearly imprinted on them. My question to you is how that makes you feel. This is obscenity and gaslighting things that's making it one-sided. All I'm asking you, if you believe that, you're welcome to join us live on the YouTube so we can actually hear what you have to say. I'm unwilling to do that, JC. I'm not willing to sugarcoat it and say, oh no. I need to really hear what you want to say. You're certainly welcome to come up. Anyone is certainly welcome to come up. I will put that link in the box for you. Go ahead, say what, bro?
No, I mean, I think, just to, because some of the stuff that some people are saying is not making any sense. So to carry on with the conversation at hand, I think a discussion should be had from the view of, say, if a person was not initiated, they knew nothing of the order and the craft, and they saw this picture, then they would feel like, oh, well, this is evil. This masonry, y'all. That's that devil worship stuff. See, we told y'all it was. We told y'all it was this. We told y'all it was that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the conversation about, why that is should be had. I think there's a conversation that should be had about that
As well, and so do I. I mean, I'm being honest with you. I do feel a certain way when I see that emblem on those slave shackles. I don't know about you, but that's how I feel. And I think it's something that we need to talk about. Why we always want to hide things and put things under the rug, especially when they affect those of us who are members of the craft. And if you think that this doesn't affect you, you believe that, I'm okay with that. That is of your opinion and your thought. But let me tell you what it does for me. It affects me. It makes me think a certain way and feel a certain way. Okay? Based upon what I'm looking at and what they was used for at that time. Period. And still the principle of masonry still was in play. Brotherly love, relief, and truth. And it still makes me have thoughts of the movie Rosewood. I'm like, It just makes me think how easy it is for us to forgive others, but yet it's so difficult for you to forgive those who look like you.
It raises when you see stuff like this, it starts to where you have to have the discussion so there could be an understanding of that there's different histories of masonry, and everybody's history of masonry is not the same.
No, it's not.
We got different lineages, different stuff going on here. So for some, they will lump everybody in and say, well, it's all, but it's not all. It's a certain group.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why certain people want to avoid the conversation, because it's going to highlight certain groups and those that are affiliated with those groups.
Well, okay, JC, yes, I was referring to the movie that I've watched, which is Rosewood, and how that kicked off. Yes, I was referring to that movie. Absolutely. Let's have a clear understanding. Up until the 90s, I would say I'm not, and like I said, I don't lump everybody to the same box. I can't do that to people. But let's just say the majority of what we call today mainstream Freemasons did not consider, they absolutely did not consider black Masons to be legitimate Masons or Masons at all. They did not. Only a few did. Okay, let's just be clear about that. Okay? And those few that did, they fought that they fought for the fact that there may be some type of recognition. And now that it is, it's cool. But how easy it is for you to forget. You forgot the struggle. How easy it is for you to toss it to the side and say, oh, 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 they like me. Hey, Mikey. No. Some of you are just so, and you call it gaslighting. I'm calling remembering. No. And what they're trying to do in Florida right now with black education across the United States, what they're trying to do, nah, bruh. Mm-mm. We're so easy to forget.
That's me. That's what I call it.
We're so easy to forget. We will repeat it again. It's just like when I watch Django. Our house is burning, master. Our house is burning. What? Our house?
Master.
Nah. Mm-mm. No, I can't do that. You know. Peace to you, brother JC. I would like to know, how is he gaslighting? Because everything that he have read, every research on my own, I don't hear nothing but facts coming out of the brother. Now, William Woodson, to the most honorable and merciful. Greetings, brother. It was hard when I went through the order. White brothers wouldn't speak to me. Well, some of them still don't. But I'm just saying, and when you look at the big picture, when you see what you see, when you understand what you understand, the way I practice masonry may not be necessarily the way they practice masonry. It may not. Because I can guarantee you the way we open our lodge is different than they do. Totally different. Am I right, Jay? You had me calling you somebody else, brother Alex. Thrice Pearson, am I right?
Yes, sir.
I'm just saying. Sir. Because I will share this with you. When I say we, I'm speaking specifically in regards to the most wishful John G. Jones Grand Lodge of California. Ancient, free, and accepted Masons. When we open up, we invoke the blessings of the ancestors. That's what we do. It's not written down in any book that you may think that you're going to go get. We have our own way of invoking those blessings and invoking the our ancestors as we begin to open our Masonic Lodge. That's what we do here, because we consider that to be the ancient customs. Not just, oh, well, hey, brother senior warden, cease to satisfy all present are Masons. No, we don't do that. It's there, but we don't do that. We don't do that because we believe that in Masonry, it should look like you, it should feel like you, it should touch your very essence. That's how we feel here, and I can say that. Plain and simple. And I've had Filipino brothers in my lodge, so let's not trip.
That's how other lodges around the world do.
You know.
They make it for them.
Ancient, free, and accepted mate. Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel. And I think when you go to your lodge meeting, it should feel that way for you. It should. Masonry is open to all men of different religious faith and creed. It is. But I guarantee you this. I'm telling you what I know. There are Jewish lodges. Yes, there are Jewish lodges. Let's have an understanding, okay? There are Filipino lodges, all Filipinos. There are all Hispanic lodges, okay? Let's have some understanding. So with that being said, when they who are of that ethnicity, I'm mispronouncing that word, but when they do their thing, it's for them. It is no disrespect to no one else. Nah. If there's an all Filipino lodge, or all Mexican lodge, all Jewish lodge, look, more power to them. And the reason they do that is because it is the essence of who they are. It has nothing to do with nobody else but them. And I believe that we should be the same way. Point blank. Period. Now, I know some are upset. Some will say, oh, this guy's like losing his mind. No, I'm not. We're always trying to integrate. No. We always want to, no. What's wrong with having your own? A lot of y'all don't like having your own. You like giving it away. You like, you can have that. You can have that. But what's wrong with having your own and allowing people to enjoy that which you have, if you choose to allow them to enjoy it? What's wrong with it? Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. Prince Hall history is filled with a rich background. We have done things behind the scenes that help people, many others. The picture is philosophy. It's Photoshop. The picture is Photoshop. My fault. Puts a propaganda. Look, nobody knows how Prince Hall looked. Let's just be honest. Nobody knows how Prince Hall looked. Nobody. There's no actual picture of Prince Hall. None. 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 All we know is what's been written in regards to the man and what he's actually done. But there's no picture, legitimate picture that you can pull out and authentically say, this is Prince Hall. There's none. Not one. There's no picture. And let the truth be told, a lot of people believe that Benjamin Banneker was Prince Hall. I've heard that story, but I don't know. I don't know at all. I don't know at all. But what I do know is that I would not be subjugated into a Masonic order to deny the true history and essence of Freemasonry here in the United States and abroad. I will not do that. I won't do that. And I won't tear down another Black Mason so I can look good. I would not put him or her as an Eastern Star in a situation to where I'm making you look bad in front of somebody else. I won't. No. You might do that, but I will not do that. My character won't let me do that. It won't. No. Nope. So when I see this, I have to think. I really have to think. You know, because I consider my practice to be the ancient customs of Freemasonry. You know? He said, I'm not a brother of yours if I do. No, man, I can't do that, man. That's crazy. Don't you think so? I mean, think about it. You know, at least I think it's crazy. I think it's off the wall how we do. And when I see it for what it is, I want to say no. Because I know Jason. I've been in plenty of groups. And my head will pop up. My name will pop up. They say, there he is. There he is. I'm like, well, who is there he is? I'm like, come on, really? But they do that so those who don't look like me has the same opportunity to charm in. See, what you do when you mistreat your own people, that gives other people the opportunity to do the same thing. You don't even know it. Let me say this again. When you mistreat your own people, it gives other people the same opportunity to do it. Because they feel that it's okay. You did it, so it's okay. That's just like saying the N-word. You say it so much to other people, say it because it's comfortable. You say it all the time. No matter how you chop it up, no matter how you say it, we know what the word means in regards to what it's supposed to apply or reapply to Black people. We know that. So I don't go around saying the word. I don't go around putting my brothers of the craft or my sisters in the order in a place or position to feel unwelcome. You know, to feel a certain way. Whenever a brother or sister of mine, being a Mason, an Eastern Star, I want them, when they're around me, I want you to feel like you're on the fucking top of the world. That's how I feel. Now, I don't know about you, but that's how I roll. I don't care whether you're international, modern, free, PHO, PHA. I don't care what the letters are. I don't. I'm not going to put you in that boat to make you feel a certain way. I want you to feel like you're on top of the world. You are truly my sister, my brother of the craft. Now, I would tell you this. There are some that are going to look at me and say, man, I never do that. Not the way they talk about me. Not the way they say these things about me. What? Nah. And I understand it. I'm not them, but I respect what they say and why they say it. I'm built differently. No, I'm built to uplift. I'm built to build. You'll catch that on the way home. I am built to build. See, I take this thing we call Freemason, I try to apply it for real life things. You know, I just want history to be told correct and not off movies. Well, brother, he who wins the battle writes history.
So
JC, just JC, the person who wins the war writes the books, writes everything down.
I mean,
they're not going to tell it. Come on, JC. You should know that. Come on. Go ahead. What you was going to say?
No, I was going to say this individual, he's hung up on this photo and trying to say that it's Photoshop.
It's not Photoshop at all.
Okay. Right, but yeah, we know that. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it is. Let's just say if he's right.
Okay.
And it is Photoshop. Does that not take away from the fact? Is he trying to say that there were no white Masons that owned slaves? Is this what he's still trying to say?
Well, I rather he is or is not. I don't know, but we do know that the fact that George Washington, who's considered a Mason, owned slaves.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm just throwing him out because he the first one comes to mind. Let's just be honest. His wife owned more slaves than he did. His wife owned 83 slaves or more. He only owned like 50. Think of that. Think on that for a minute. So, no, I don't roll like that, bro. A true traveler sought not weaponize the craft. Absolutely. You know, from the last comment I made. That's right, brother. I would not put another brother down either. Absolutely. I don't know why some of us get into these groups and we do that. I don't know why some of us that leave our lodges, be it Prince Hall or whatever, we go join mainstream and you feel a certain way about those who didn't come. You feel a certain way about those who didn't follow your path. Oh, I've seen it. And I'm quite sure some of you have seen it. I've read the comments in regards to a brother who was part of an international. Probably modern free, but either way. He left, joined a mainstream Grand Lodge, and there he is doing the same BS that was done to him to somebody that looked like him. He was doing the same BS. Oh, you ain't recognized. Oh, you clowning. I'm like, really? You quit your lodge. I think it was Modern Free International. It was one of those two. You quit. You quit. You go join a mainstream Grand Lodge and you do the same shit that was done to you. You do it to them. That's psychologically, you messed up here. You messed up. You're not thinking clearly. You're not even cautious. But I would guarantee you this. Those same brothers that you left and now you're calling clandestine and bogus and all of that and you saying that they ain't right, they papers ain't right. You saying they papers ain't right. I guarantee you this. When you needed some help, they was there. When you broke bread, they was there. When y'all had a couple of brewskis, they were there. But now you can't really talk to them now because they can't visit your lodge. This emblem right here, those slave shackles right there, really, really, really to me speaks volume. It really speaks volumes because it reminds me of how so many of them felt about my ancestors. It reminds me about a time and place that is gone of how they was treated. Come on now. Prince Hall was born a free man and with substantial amount of wealth. Nah. I'm gonna say this, because Bill Cosby said the same thing. You can be a black man with a lot of money, you're still an in. There's some doors that money will not get you in or through. I don't care how much wealth you have or may have. Period. Ask Oprah. She went into a boutique and called herself looking for a purse, and they asked her, "What you doing up in here?" "I'm Oprah Winfrey. I can buy this." Well, and what? So even though you may have wealth now, there's some doors you're just not going to get into. I don't care how much money you got. This is going to prevent you from going in the door. Come on. There's a psychological warfare going on. It is. And some of us have refused to face the music. We refuse to see it for what it is. You know, whether he was a servant or not, I have no idea. None. Hey, how's it going? I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm currently awaiting to get called back from the lodge. I'm currently waiting to get called back from the lodge, and it's entry free and accepted. I would like to thank you for being a guide to me. Oh, thank you, Anthony Scott. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You know, fraternal greetings. Hey, what's going on, Kels? So my whole thing is, when I look at this, and this is tonight's subject, slave master, what's your real thought? You know, 1852 to 1952, that's only 100 years. That's only 100 years. Think on that for a minute. 1852 to 1952 is 100 years. I have a sister that was born around 1952. My mother was born in 1936. Her mother was born in 1914. Her mother was born in 1850. Think on that for a minute. Jason, just think on that for a minute. I just rolled you back. Think on that for a minute. I have a sister that was born in 1952. My mother born in 1932. Well, actually 1936. Her mother was born in 1914. Her mother was born in 1850. I just need for you to gather those thoughts. Even if you'd have said 1860. I got a brother that was born in 1960. That's only 100 years. Even if you'd have said 1866. I have another brother that was born in 1966. You're only talking 100 years. Have you ever listened to the videos of the slave talks? Jason, they have a video, right? A recording of actual slaves telling how it was during slavery. This was done in the 1930s. And it is eye-opening. It is something that makes me cringe. It makes me like, ugh. It does something to me to hear actual slaves talk about being slaves and how it was. Oh man, come on. They gave you a slave Bible. That's a fact. We know that's true. You can Google that right now. So you talk about history. We've been lied to since day one. He said history. He who wins the battle writes history. They write their story down. His story. You know, we were never really taught about all of the slave revolts. Now that we've gotten a little older, and this thing we call the media, the internet, now you can Google, you can pull up, you can Yahoo, you can do all of these different things and find out about all the different slave revolts. Not just Nat Turner. Not just the French Revolution, or not just the one that happened over in Haiti. We can find out about so many others. But we were never really taught that. We was never really told about those other revolutions. The other slaves who fought for their freedom. He was never told that. Nat Turner, one of the greatest ones of them all. You know? So when we look at this thing, I'm going to tell you again, I'm going to share this with you so we have a clear understanding. When I say ancient, free, and accepted Mason, when I say it, it's because of the ancient customs. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not talking about England. I'm not talking about Scotland. I'm not talking about France. I'm truly talking about ancient customs of this thing we call Freemason. Because what we call Freemason today, when it first birthed, it was not called that at all. It was not called that at all. Absolutely not. The only reason we call it Freemasonry is because Freemasonry itself went underground. And it will go underground again. If you know anything about the history of Freemasonry and why did it go underground, you will come to find many stories told about the Essenes. Oh, you don't know about the Essenes? Go look at the Essenes and who were they? You know, it'll tell you the story about Christ being a member of the Essenes, which was a so-called or may have been a secret society of his day, of his time. John the Baptist was part of the same group that was called the Essenes. They was considered to be free thinkers, those who thought differently than everybody else. Isn't that what we do today? Those who are true to Freemasons, true to Freemasonry, you think differently than most do today. You don't think the same as those who are in your circle. Your thought process is not like theirs. It shouldn't be. So greetings to everybody who's joining us tonight. We're talking about the slave shackles of 1852. What does that conjure up in you? What does that do for you? You know, before religion was squeezed in Freemasonry, we were called I'm not gonna even do that. I'm Brother Wilson. Brother William. I'm not gonna even do that to myself. Meaning sons of light. I know. Freemasons, not with an F, but with a P. Okay, got it. Absolutely. Free my son. Oh, but yeah, for sure. So if you think what I'm saying is not true, if you believe and say, nah, this guy's, go look this up for yourself. Go do it for yourself. Absolutely. Because I know some brothers disagree with me a lot about a lot of different things. And a lot of people are going to disagree with me about this particular conversation that is called the slave master. You're going to disagree, and I'm okay with that. I don't mind the criticism. It comes along with thinking differently than anybody else. It comes along with having a conversation that's going to make everybody else feel uncomfortable. And I'm going to say this. African American black folks is due and owe an apology. And we will never receive it because we're waiting on someone else to apologize to us when we need to start apologizing to ourselves. Need to start loving on ourselves. Until you do that, nobody else is going to come and offer you any apology for anything that has happened or were done to your ancestors. A lot of people say, well, I didn't own any slaves. You probably didn't own any slaves, but you're benefiting. You're benefiting right now from the work of my ancestors. Right now. That's a fact. That's not something that's out of a comic book. That is a true fact. When most people think of Freemasonry and its history, they don't think of black folks. True that. Most books that are written on the history of Freemasonry do not include black people in them at all. I have a whole encyclopedia set from I think it's like 1920. I have a whole complete set of Masonic encyclopedia that was given to me. They don't mention nothing about black people in there at all. Nothing. And if they do, it's it's that much. You know, it's that much. So look, I'm going to log off this Zoom real quick, and I'm going to stay live on the YouTube. I just want to thank everyone for coming in and being with us this evening on the YouTube. I'm going to log off of here, and then I'm going to move on. Let's see what I got in the chat. All right, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm gonna close this down. Boom, there you go. That's gone. Close that down. We're gonna end this, but I'm gonna stay live on the on here, and I think I'm probably connected. But however, you know, so I'm gonna end here tonight. I want to say thanks to everyone for coming on and spending time with me on the Zoom. I'm going to end the Zoom, but I'm going to stay live right here on the YouTube. And we're talking about the slave master, and the topic is the slave chain, or the slave emblem that now rests in the hands of the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. So I want to thank everybody for coming on and joining us on the Zoom. We're going to remain live here tonight. And we're going to carry on this conversation because it's one that needs to be carried on. It's one that needs to be carried on. I think that sometimes we forget about those great conversations that we need to have. It's just me. That's just my thought. I think we actually absolutely forget. They didn't take pictures during the time of PHA, Prince Hall. Well, they have a picture of George Washington. They have a picture of every president of the United States. So who came first? George Washington or Prince Hall? I'm just asking, because I legitimately, I don't know. I'm asking. I'm being for real. Someone's like, "Are you crazy? You know Prince Hall came first." He was such a influential person, African person, black man. You mean to tell me that nobody wanted to paint his picture? Come on. I'm just saying. And you're right to a point. To a point. But what about the picture of what about the picture that they have of the African American man that was beaten so badly and his back is all wilted up? I can't even think of his name. I cannot think of his name. I see the picture so much of this African American gentleman, and they take a picture of him and his back is all wilted up. I don't know exactly when the picture was taken, but I can imagine it had to be during the Civil War, because I think what's his name? Will Smith played him in a movie called Emancipation, something like that. So I don't know. There were a lot of individuals named Prince Hall. Let's just be honest about that. Now, whether he's the one that is in the census or not, I don't know. I don't have a right to comment on something that I don't really know about. So I won't dispute it. JC, I will not dispute it. Cybersecurity said he wasn't black. He looked white from the islands. I'm not sure. But what I am sure about is that the name of the lodge was African Lodge. Apparently he's seen something in the name to name it African Lodge. And then there was African Grand Lodge. All I'm saying is that sometimes we forget who we are so we can be accepted by someone who don't really give a damn about you. That's my opinion alone. It doesn't reflect the opinion of my Masonic body. This is my opinion. You know? Where you think our collars and apron? Oh, come on. Now you asking me where do I think the collars and apron comes from? I think the columns and aprons, or the collars and the aprons, come from the Egyptians. Comes from Africa. Absolutely. That's a proven fact. Absolutely, JC. He named it African Lodge to not forget who we are. He knew blacks was a status. Absolutely. Someone said, Ancient Kemet. My brother, I really think that most brothers and sisters need to start really doing deeper research than what they are doing and allow their minds to grow. Absolutely, you should. What you should do is actually look at Masonry for what it is. And then look at the pretense of where it comes from. And then look at how others cultivated it and made it theirs and told you that you couldn't practice it. Is that true or not? Is that not what happened? I'm just asking, is that not what happened? Did they not take that, cultivate it, and say you couldn't practice it? You had to be freeborn, well recommended, of lawful age. What was that all about? I'm just saying. When I look at it face to face, head on, and have a good, solid conversation, I'm not saying that everything that I know is dead on, but damn it, I'm so close to it. Absolutely, Freemasonry is deeper than what we think and what we know. Absolutely, it is. But most of us don't want to take that journey. Most of us don't want to take the journey down the rabbit hole because the deeper you dig, it looks like you. That's the truth. The deeper you dig, it looks like you, but you're too afraid to even dig. Nah, nope. No, there's not, that I know of any slaves in ancient Kemet. None that I've come across. See, here's the thing. There's a difference than slaves. Let's have an understanding. When I'm talking slavery in the United States, I'm talking cattle slavery, okay? Slavery here in the United States was cattle slavery because that's how they seen you. They seen us as cattle. It was cattle slavery. They bred you, okay? They made you sleep with your mamas and your daddies and your sisters and your brothers. They did that. They made us do that. That's a fact. Okay? They raped us. Let's have this real conversation. Okay? They did those things. Okay? And they was doing those things up until the 60s. Let's be honest and have a great conversation. A great conversation. Let's just think it stopped happening. It was continuously happening. Okay? That is what was done to people who look like me during that time and space, okay? Or era, however you want to put it. It's true. Absolutely, he was intelligent enough to name it African Lodge, not a black lodge, because he knew that blacks in the objective and could not use it to describe a human being. Absolutely. Let me see. I think I lost this. Brother Scott, what's going on, Anthony Scott? He said, we used to teach when we were young for 20 years because that was considered a master mason and 40 to be considered a grand master. I read that somewhere. I think I have a book called Ancient Masonry, and I think I read that in that particular book. I'm not 100% sure. I have to go back and just double check. Those slaves you thought you saw were captive of war. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. When you are a captive of war, you do become a slave. But there's a difference, like I said before. What I'm talking about is cattle slavery, which was done here in the United States. All right? And then there were slaves who actually worked off their debt to the person that they was enslaved to. Okay? There are different categories for slavery, but we're talking cattle slavery. Okay? We're talking, they told the pregnant black woman, called them a litter. They call her kids a litter. She has a litter of kids. They put her in the stable with the horses. Come on now, talk back to me. It's truth. We all know it's true, but we don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about that. Why? I'm reminded every day. I'm never forgetting the struggle. I'm never forgetting of the effects that this system has had on those long before me. I'm not letting it go. It reminds me that I have work to do. It reminds me that I must take my trowel and spread these cement of brotherly love amongst my own. Okay, before I do for anybody else. It reminds me that I must be plump and upright amongst my own. It reminds me that I must be square when I'm dealing with people who look like me. I must be level with you. It reminds me that I should be like bees and be as industrial. Okay? It reminds me I should take my anchor and throw it overboard so I can be grounded. It reminds me that one day I'm going to be put into a grave, just as a tree that is planted by the water. And when its branches are cut, do that tree not cease to exist? Will its roots not spur up and grow another branch or a tree? I'm reminded of those who were shackled and brought across the world, brought across the waters, okay? Placed in a shallow grave and left for dead and waiting for someone to come along and shake them, to bring them back to be conscious again of who they are. Not who they were, but who they are. That's all I'm saying. That's all I want. I want us to be able to take this thing we call Freemasonry and use it in such a way that it would shake the very foundation that now we rest upon. That's what you should do with it, because others are doing that same thing with it. They are. Man, look, I'm just telling you what I know, not what I think. If you think others are not taking Masonry and using it in such a way to benefit them and those around them, you are seriously misguided. It's a fact. Not being funny, my good brother, but is Prince Hall some kind of immortal or something? Because leave it up to most other brothers that I ran across. He's around in Christ living. Look, I'm gonna say this. For some, he is. I mean, I'm okay with that. But no, he was that dude of that time who saw Freemasonry and wanted to use it to uplift his people in such a way that they would be able to transform that whole energy into something that can galvanize them and move them forward. That's how I believe that the man himself, along with those 14 others, seen Freemasonry. He saw how they used Freemasonry. He seen how the Caucasian man of his time used Freemasonry, and he wanted to do the same thing for his people. But the weirdest thing is he went to them first. I'm just saying. Nobody wanted him to be a Mason. John Back comes along, and becomes his first worshipful master, first Grand Master. I mean, however that played out, I'm cool with that. I'm not here to bash the history. I'm here to uplift. I want you to understand, we got to change the mindset. We got to do that. Nobody else is coming to save you. I'm tired, I'm waiting. I just can't see it. Tonight, when I go and have a conversation with my ancestors in a few libations and pour them out and say Ashe and do my thing with them, I want to have a serious conversation. when I rang the bell and raised the vibration, man, I don't know about you, but that's what I do for me, for my inner being, for my spirit man. That's where I'm at. I live in the middle chambers. I walk into the abyss, the abyss of the black hole of the ancient knowledge of science. Oh, no, you do that. Oh, do you do that? Brother William, come on now. You're doing too much. You're doing too much. Talking about you living in the middle chambers. You know. Brother, everything you ever wanted to know or need to know is in there. So my question would be to you, is Freemasonry, as we know it today, is it geometry or is it masonry? We'll talk about that probably on another subject. We're at the door for Zoom. What? You at the door for Zoom? Man, I've closed that Zoom down, I think. Hold on, let me check something out real quick. Hold on, let me go check it out. I might be able to pop it back open. I'm not for sure. But let me check real quick and see what I can do here. Tell me he at the door for Zoom. Oh my goodness. Let's see what we got tonight. Okay, let me open this up real quick. Okay, I think I can open this up real quick. I'm not really for sure. Okay, I think I can let you in since you said you was at the door. What's going on, Brother Nico? How's everything happening with you this evening? Hope things are well. I will admit everyone to come in and have this conversation with me this evening. As you come in, I think I'm going to have to go back live on the YouTube for you. Or we can stay right here, whatever you want to do. You're certainly welcome. Greetings. I'm not going to bring you up on the live on the YouTube, but definitely if you want to comment or have anything you would like to say, you certainly can. So, oh my goodness, what's going on, Brother Diaz, Brother Nico, Brother King Torres?
Yes,
hey, how y'all doing this evening? So look, the conversation tonight is this. The conversation is called Slave Masters. And the reason the conversation is called Slave Master is because of this. Hold on, I'm going to share my screen with you. No, that's not it. That's not it. Where does my picture go? I got a picture, and I don't know if you've seen it, but it is of the cuffs of the let me see where that's at. I gotta find it. I gotta go in here and look for it again. It's here.
that was the picture of the shackles with the Masonic square and compass on it.
Correct. Yes, it is that one. That's the one. So you know the one I'm talking about, right? That's the one I'm talking about. Absolutely. So my question to you would be, is what is your thoughts on that? Brother Nico, go ahead, talk to me.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, what is your thoughts on that?
That during masonry, during slavery, I should say, there were people of all walks of life